Hey, so today is one of the harder topics that I've talked about. And I think that this is something that it's awful that we need to think about this. It's terrible. I don't want to think about this. I don't want this to be a thing. But I'd rather be prepared in cases of emergency than not have any sort of thought about what will happen or what I might need in my room if there is something awful going on. So, this is a lockdown supply list of things to have in the classroom if there is some sort of situation so that you have things for this emergency. So first of all, you can go and you can buy a whole kit on Amazon for people that are camping, but you want something like a bucket or sort of like a little like pop-up potty, trash bags, so like a curtain that you put up with like a tension rod or like the little pop-up tents, toilet paper, wet wipes, kitty litter for the smell. Um, if you're stuck for a very long time, especially with like younger students, or if you had a kid that was like maybe like thinking about it but hadn't like verbalized it and said, "Hey, can I go?" And then all of a sudden it's an emergency. Um, this way you have like a way to let them use the restroom if there's like really truly an emergency. Wet wipes are great for any sort of other situation here. If somebody needs to wipe their nose, blow their nose, if there's like an accident, if there's, like a kid scratches themselves or there's something sticky, whatever the cases are, having some wet wipes there would be great. Or Clorox wipes is another option if you need for something. Particularly like if there's like a biohazard, tissues, things those we tend to have in our classroom all most of the time anyways, but those sorts of things are important, so that you can kind of like wipe things up if needed be. And I know that like ideally we're not there very long and it's very quiet, but sometimes things happen. One little thought here, if you're doing something like Clorox wipes or something, fresh scent actually triggers my allergies pretty badly, because of whatever sort of element they're in there to make them smell fresh. And I've got some pretty bad allergies, but at the same time, like if you have kids that are allergic to scents and things like that, probably one of the safest scents would be like lemon. Or unscented would be better. But if you're looking at things like lavender or fresh, like those might be something that triggers a student's allergies. Trash bags or some like small things, like poop bags, something like that might be important to have there. You know, Allergy-free snacks, things that don't have nuts in them, or fruit snacks, maybe some freeze-dried fruit, things that don't go bad. Lollipops, like if you want to make sure that they're quiet and they've got something, in their mouth, something shelf stable that you don't have to think about. Little mini bottles of water, uh, a phone charger or cord for yourself. If your lockdown area is somewhere in the classroom where you can plug in your phone, that's great. But you might want a charger. Just because if your phone's like on the low end and you need it, if you're texting other teachers, um, I would keep an extra house key to your house in that particular area in case you need to leave and you're not able to get back in the building. Um, if you look, I have a blog post about this list, but if you look there, there's something called trauma bandages. They are worst case. This is worst case scenario. But we had a sheriff come to my school and he did like a whole, how you use these and how you apply them and what they're for, and they're very, very good for um, trauma wounds. Um, but that you would need one front and back if that was the case. Um, but they can help prolong time before somebody needs help. Um, but if you look up like chest seal on Amazon, you probably will find them. Um, there are these things I found called Barracuda door defense systems, and they're essentially like like a sturdy little thing that you put behind the door. They have for inward or outward swinging doors. So if you have a school that like the doors still swing outward, that might be an option as well. Something to kind of like barricade. They have lots of different things, and I know schools are getting really good at putting things like that into doors. Some sort of comfort toys or fidget toys, like, bust out your puppets if you need to. Something to kind of keep the kids' hands busy. Um, Black electrical tape. So if you have students that have light up shoes, cover up the lights if you're there for a while and you have that like moment to cover them up. That would be something. I would keep like a small like pencil case with like scissors, marker, like a Sharpie, pen, paper, anything if you need to like write something down or something. Um, Again, we're taught about like, like if you have to put like a tourniquet on somebody, like you write like a big T on their forehead so that like, you know, emergency crews know this. Wow, I can't believe I'm having this video. Um, a travel blanket is something maybe to have really good there. You can get like in like camping sections, like these ones that like fold up to like, like itty bitty little thin things. But something if you have a kid that's like really freaking out or stressed, you can have that. Um, yeah. Um, a flashlight, a lantern, something like if you, even though your lights are off and you need it to be dark, like if you were really like desperate for something, you need a light, like if a student got up and ran to the other side of the room or something, you need to have like something to be able to find them. Other things that you should kind of keep in this area that are probably in your classroom anyways. Think about the stuff that like you need on a daily basis as a teacher, but at the same time you want to kind of store them near where your lockdown area is in your room. So like class lists, emergency cards are a really good spot to store in this kind of area in the classroom so that you can get a hold of them. If things come into your classroom with students for medical things like inhalers or EpiPens, I would put them in that corner of the room. I would store your purse and your car keys in that particular area of the room. Any sort of, medical equipment like first aid kit, if you have a CPR mask in your room, any of those sorts of things in that area, as well as like your school walkie-talkie, if you want to put in that area so that you can turn it on or off or turn the volume down. Um, you know, also have like a list of things you need to do to lock down your room. So, pull the shades, double check the door lock, turn the lights off. If you have little lamps around your classroom, make sure you have that listed. Um, older students can help with some of this. And I know we have to keep our doors closed and locked, but also just verify that it's actually locked because sometimes you'll get somebody that goes there and like unlocks it. I had a former teacher that would do that as like students were coming and bringing my band, like their band instruments into my room in the morning. And like every day I'd be like, why is my door unlocked? Stop unlocking my door. That one, all of those sorts of things that like they need to like clear up. And also keep like a printed copy of like your school, like your principal's phone number, your secretary's phone number, the office, like keep it in that area of your classroom just so that you have like, um, something to like reference if for some reason things aren't going, like if you can't find it on your phone, if you're scrolling really quick and you're kind of like in the moment, like freaking out, you need to find those. Those are easier to find. The other thing I would say for this like lockdown supply list, even though this isn't like a true supply, I would make sure that your area of the classroom where you lock down is not full of stuff. Like it can't be the corner that you store all of your Tubanos in, because then you have kids that are like trying to move them and they're making a ton of noise. Make sure whatever that area is that it's kind of like empty, especially from like the noisemaker things, the stacks of chairs and all of that sort of other stuff. So that's my lockdown supply list. If you think of something that people should have on a supply list for lockdowns, you know, things like that we don't want to think about as teachers, but we know is a reality of like preparing our classrooms. Please leave us in the comments because I think that all of us would benefit from that knowledge. So, thanks so much for watching this list. This video was actually really, really hard for me to make. So thank you for sticking through it with me. If as you watched me struggle through this a little bit, I really appreciate it. If you get a lot out of my videos, I would love it if you hit subscribe or leave a comment, like this video, and share it with your friends. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.